So I saw a very disturbing news on LinkedIn today that I want to talk about. And it's that top companies, for like they mentioned Deloitte and Zoom, are cutting back benefits that they're offering to their employees. Deloitte specifically is targeting IT and finance departments, saying that some workers are more valuable than others to the company. They're cutting back paid time off. They're cutting back parental leave from 16 weeks to 8 weeks. They're cutting back retirement benefits. And it really begs the question, what's next? Because if these top companies, Deloitte is one of the top big four accounting firms in the entire world, big company. Zoom is also everybody knows. If you don't know who Deloitte is because you're not in the finance space, you've probably used Zoom regardless of department. So more people probably know what Zoom is than Deloitte. But these are two giants in their own sectors. And they are cutting back benefits that they are typically offering, that typically attract employees to come work for these top companies. So when you're looking at these companies who can actually afford to offer this benefit to their employees and they're cutting back, what message is that sending to smaller mom and pop businesses who are still offering these benefits, or are competing with these giant companies indirectly for the same candidates? But they are offering they are offering these benefits, but no, they're probably going to want to, like, okay, if Deloitte is not offering, I don't need to offer it, right? But it begs for a deeper conversation, because parental leave is typically taken by both genders, of course, mostly though by women. And if you're reducing the 16 weeks parental leave to 8 weeks, you're telling women they should come back into the workspace unhealed. You're also telling women, if they're planning to have children, don't even bother, come work for me. Or if you're in childbearing years, don't come work for me, right? Because finance and IT are typically roles that are now both gender equivalent, but I guess this is speaking to the fact that, are we trying to create these departments that are only for men? Hence these parental leave cutbacks. I'm just curious, because not only that, the paid time off is also being cut back. So not only can I not get my full parental leave, but now I can't even get PTO. And if that's not bad enough, now we're going to take away retirement. So what are people supposed to look for in their future? You're working, everybody's contributing to your 401k or Roth IRA or whatever retirement plan that your company has, because a lot of people don't even understand these plans, right? And they rely on the fact that the company is matching them and they're going to have something to retire with. But people, when I ask these questions, these are to be served as reflective questions for you, because at the end of the day, these companies are run by mostly males. If you check the head of the boards for most major companies, it's men, and it's white men typically, right? And then you have, as you come down the ranks, you may have a few women, but not at the very top. And they are making decisions that everybody has to adhere to, regardless of gender, right? But not only that, this just helps me to see, like, I'm just approaching the conversation from a curious point of view. This is not me saying that it's right or wrong. This is their company policy. They already are making their decision. My voice will not change it. Well aware of that, right? But it's to help us to reflect on the decisions and the choices that we're making. Yes, these are major companies that anybody would want to work for, right? Of course, you go to school, you get your degrees, and you want to get an epic feedback when somebody asks you where you work and you say Deloitte or Google or Microsoft, and they're like, oh, okay. And then, of course, you're earning 6 figures or 7 figures. And it gives you some boost in the ranks, especially in people's eye who aspire to have those roles. When you do get these roles, though, it's still your primary obligation to be responsible for your progression, your education, your development, your self-improvement. My dad always tells me, like, even if you want to be an entrepreneur, have your 9 to 5, right? Have stable money coming in so you don't have to pressure the business and you don't have to stifle it before it gets the opportunity to grow, right? So I am not going to ever come and to tell people, oh, everybody should quit their job and go start a business. Like, there is way more work in starting a business than having your employment. I'm just going to say it because a lot of people are probably not saying it. So it's very strategic to have your 9 to 5. Another strategic move, though, is being informed and educate yourself. Be a proper financial steward of your money, is what I'm saying in basic layman terms. A lot of women are not going to be able to afford, if they work at one of these top companies, even though they are making 6 figures, afford to take an extended parental leave, potentially jeopardizing their job security because of no money put down for challenges like this or changes like this. What about the person who wanted to have a child from forever, and they also wanted this opportunity to work at one of these top companies? Now they get the opportunity and now they're ready to have children. Just to hear that you only have 2 months, sorry. What happens if 2 months your body is just not ready to go back to work? You're going to ask for more time? They're going to probably tell you no. Now you're more stressed out because you have a child to provide for and you just lost your source of income. This is not about Deloitte. This is not about Zoom. This is not about them cutting or adding benefits. This is about you taking ownership of your life and living a life by choice and not by default. I talked about in my video six strategies to build wealth. I don't remember if that's the name, but it's something that's kind of the name, I think. The first one is assessing where you are. Know where you are, even if you don't work at any one of these companies that I'm mentioning. Know where you are financially. Know every single dollar that comes into your account, every expense that you have. Stock your money. Like, you literally need to mind your business. You have to mind your business. You cannot be out here minding everybody else's business and not yours. Know where you're at. Know what comes in. Know what goes out. Do not be surprised by money coming out of your account. Be on the alert so much to the point where if something comes out that you did not expect, you can flag it immediately because you know exactly what's the routine. Know everything. Know the numbers like it's your telephone digit or whoever telephone digit you memorize. Like, know it by heart. This is not a request. This is a requirement. Because even though it's a good leverage to have your job, there is less stability as the day goes by, as the days goes by. So you still have to always have a fallback plan for yourself. It's a requirement. When you know your numbers, you can know how to move. If you have debt, know how much debt you have. I talked about many times, I did not look on my debt for like 3 years because I just didn't want to face it. I was only able to make the minimum payments. It looked like the debt was not moving. And I didn't feel like I had a plan. But the moment I checked it, I could create a plan. It's not as complicated as you think, but it's going to always be complicated because it's in your head. The moment you take it out and face it, it becomes less intimidating and less complicated. I promise you, I have done it. This is not just talk to talk's sake. I have done this. Know your numbers, income, expenses, know your debt amount, create a plan to clear off your debt. I promise you, it will be way easier to take a layoff when you don't have debt to pay than when you have debt to pay and you don't have money coming in. I don't need to go down the list of things that I've been through, but everything I talk about here, I know what it feels like. Right? And once you do that, now you can start setting up your foundation. 3 to 6 months emergency fund. I personally prefer 12 months. But do what works for you. This is not just about a lifestyle. It's not just to talk about the fact that you don't have any debt or you're this. It's a requirement for an intentional life. It's a requirement for an intentional life. You don't have to be swept up by everything just because it's a thing. When I was in undergrad, I heard one of my classmates said she does not want to work at one of these top companies. Everybody else said they wanted to work there. Even me wanted to work there. So I'm like, why is she saying she don't want to work there? When she went down the list of reasons, I was like, that makes perfect sense. But you don't know that it makes sense until you're actually making intentional choices for yourself. And then you're realizing, like, I literally intentionally did not take this because it doesn't serve me in these areas. Even though it looks good on paper. Even though I could brag about my job, my title, or my company, whatever it is. If there is any one of these steps that you're avoiding to take, this is your call to take it. Like, I could literally do these things for myself and just not care if anybody else do it. But because I know where I was, and because I know that these things work, that's why I come on here and talk about it all the time. You cannot change what you won't face. But the moment you face it, it's easier than you think to create that plan and to execute. Because creating the plan is half of the work. You have to execute. I saw a post by Layla yesterday where she said that you don't need to read more books and you don't need to change your mindset. You need to take action. You need to execute. You need to move and do things. And while you're in the motion of doing, it just becomes easier. It becomes clearer. And everything just starts working out in a ripple effect. So it's a really sad situation, but it's only going to get worse. These are just 2 of the top companies. We don't even see what's to come because this is going to trigger something that none of us are ready for. I can almost promise you that. I don't know what it's gonna be, but I know that you're you are responsible for yourself more than any company will ever be responsible for you. You can learn everything that you don't learn, everything that you don't know. You can learn. So how you reach from here to there, one foot in front of the other, and keep moving. And don't overwhelm yourself by trying to listen to what everybody is saying that you should buy or you should do, and all of these gurus who are just really trying to take your money. Don't get overwhelmed by all of that noise. Take the simple steps. Create a foundation for yourself, and then you can think about investing and doing other different things. And I say this already, and I'm going to say it again. Don't invest in things that you don't understand. Not because it's the trend, not because it's the top thing, not because you're expected to do this. It's not that you're supposed to stay stuck, You're supposed to take action. But it's better to take slow action than to move too quickly into the wrong area. Do with that what you will. But it's your responsibility, it's all of our responsibilities to make sure that we are getting ourselves to the place that we need to go. It's no company's responsibility to do that. So I'm really disheartened by this, but this is just where it's going. So we just have to figure out how we want to design our life in the process so that we can make the most of our opportunities here and to make the later years greater than the former. Well, if this was any bit informative to you, please consider subscribing. Please share this video with a friend who could benefit from this content, and like the video. Comment below what stood out to you, or which stage of these 6 strategies are you on right now. And if you haven't started, you can also comment too. Like, at the end of the day, we're all here together to help build each other up and to help each other get to where they want to go. So if you need some pep in your step, you can still definitely comment, and I will try my best to, share some encouragement your way. But it's your responsibility to get to where you want to go, and you just have to think about what your life will look like a year from now if you start taking the steps now versus waiting until next year to take them. Time is always now. All right, so thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one tomorrow. Until then, let's go make some mistakes. Bye.